So in the first four problems, your job is to write an equation. Now, we know that this unit is on linear equations, so right off the bat, we know that all of these equations are going to have the basic components, a slope and a y-intercept. So what we want to look for is, we want to try to find a rate of change to use for a slope, and we want to try to find what the basic starting point is for the y-intercept. Now, some of these word problems kind of spell that right out. Like, for example, in number 2, we know that Wilma, in her freshman year, paid this much for her tuition, so that's sort of her starting point. And then we know that her rate of change is $500 per year. So right off the bat, we have slope and y-intercept, just straight from the word problem. But if we're looking at some of these problems, they don't come right out and tell you what the rate of change is. They give you enough information to figure that out. And the same thing with the y-intercept. So I'm not going to go through all the problems. You're going to need to read each of them more closely for clues about what the rate of change in y-intercept is. But I'm going to go over number 1 about how to find it for this problem. So we've got Cedric and Josh. Both ordered the same size pizzas at Marco's Pizzeria. However, they ordered different toppings. Marco's charges an additional fee for toppings, but all toppings cost the same. Cedric got pepperoni, banana peppers, and black olives on his pizza for a cost of $15.74. Josh ordered mushrooms and eggplant on his pizza and paid $14.49. So now we're supposed to write an equation for the cost of the pizza C as a function of the number of toppings T ordered. So I need to figure out a rate of change, like what's really happening. How much does each topping cost? And I need to figure out how much a basic pizza without any toppings costs, because that would give me my slope and then my y-intercept. So here I see that if I get 3 toppings, I can make a little table, toppings and cost. So 3 toppings is going to cost me $15.74, but 2 toppings with Josh is only going to cost me $14.49. So right there, then, once I have a table, I can easily find a rate of change, right? This only changes by $1.25 for 1 topping. So obviously, the rate of change or the slope is 125, because 125 divided by 1 is 125. So I now know my slope is 125. But I want to figure out what my beginning value is, my y-intercept. And there are lots of ways to do this. You can plug the information in. You could plug this as an x, this is the y, this is an m, and solve for b into y equals mx plus b. But I'm just going to talk myself common sense through the problem. My y-intercept is going to be what a pizza with no toppings costs. So I can see that 3 toppings cost this much, 2 toppings cost this much. 1 topping is going to be 125, like subtract 125 there, and 0 toppings is going to be subtracting another 125. So if I just take 125 off of this cost, I get $11.99, and that's going to be my pizza without any toppings. So I can just use the ideas in the word problem to help me figure that out. So in the end, my C equals 125x plus $11.99. Slope, y-intercept, how much each topping costs, how much a pizza with no toppings costs. So you do 2 through 4 on your own by taking the clues in the problems and figuring out the slope and the y-intercept.